Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It's March 27th. It's a Wednesday. Almost the end of this month, guys. And then into April. And up here, April 1st is not April Fool's Day. It is, but it's also drought season for us guys that love to trout fish. So I thought today I would talk about what you probably didn't know about the venues. When I say the venues, the selling venues such as eBay and Amazon, and the difference between the two of them. And then I also wanted to answer a couple quick questions or comments that were left. And that won't take long. So stay with us, folks. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And I do the weekday show Monday through Friday, and a couple of videos on the weekends. And we also do repair videos during the week. Now, what to expect? Anything flies on a weekday. Could be personal development or talking business. I try to do what you guys are interested in. So let's start off with comments left. And one that I see this morning was on a solenoid and the differences. And I totally agree with how you put that. And I said in the video that solenoid, but actually a relay. And the actual starter solenoid is on the starter, right? But if you go to any of these, even OEM companies, and you ask for a relay, they aren't going to show you that part. And that's why I said a starter solenoid or a solenoid. And then I said, or actually a relay. Because all your aftermarket companies, OEM companies, after your fly-by-night Chinese sellers on eBay, the books on it, all list it as a solenoid, when actually it's not. But if I said I called it a relay, and someone wanted to go look it up, they wouldn't find it. They may find it in the parts diagrams where it's blown up, but it's going to say solenoid. And there's always been that difference, 12 volt versus 6 volt, 3 wire, 4 wire. Actually, it is a relay. But it's been called a solenoid for so long that if I say relay, then I'm going to have a lot of people trying to correct me, say, no, that's a solenoid. I know what everybody's saying, but that's why I called it both. But you're correct. It is a relay. Solenoid sits on the starter. Relay just connects the hot to the starter wire and push juice to it. All right. Yes, Amos, we had a lot of poop up there yesterday. But when you got 56 mama cows, last year's calves, year before steers, that are getting, on average, 8 5-foot by 5-foot round bales every 3 to 4 days, 1 silage bale a day, and then 2 5-gallon buckets worth of grain, they are going to poop. But the hard part is, normally what happens is it freezes so that the cows aren't up to their bellies in mud. And there's not too many places in the winter pasture that they haven't punched holes of where, and I'm trying to find dry spots to where I can feed them, where they can have their calves. I'm right in the beginning of the calving season. I had another one that calved yesterday. I've got 4 more that are due this week. that I'm watching like a hawk. And if the calf can't be where it's dry and, cold weather does not affect the calf. Warm weather doesn't affect the calf. Actually, warm weather would be more than cold. But some of the calves that were born on my farm when we were, 0 to 10 degrees, did fine. They were healthy. And they did because the ground was froze. They could find a place to lay on some hay. It was dry, and Mama was very attentive to them. Now we're trying to find a place where Mama feels comfortable having her calves. There's only a few spots, and it's up high and dry up on the rock ledge, but they have to come down, and the calf will have to come down with them. And if she needs to eat and the calf follows, then they're going through mud. So I'm trying to get a centralized location where her and the calf can still get around, eat, and I can talk a lot. I don't care if we're up there every week, clean that up. But I'm going to do it so that I don't lose any calves. So I thought today we talk a little bit about the venues, and which you may not know, or maybe you know. Well, one of the things, like one of you guys mentioned, you sell OPE, and it's not worth all the work for $7. If you're making $7 on a product, you're doing better than most that are U.S. sellers selling the same thing. Because one of the things that bothered me, I always wanted to reach out to them, but, on eBay, a lot of times your other sellers were competing against you, right? And if you did say something to them, I was always afraid they'd take it the wrong way. And if they undersold me when I was doing warehousing level pricing and pulling, $4 to $5, and they were $4 below me, I knew that they didn't understand what actually takes place on the venues. See, like eBay and Amazon are your two big ones, right? That's where most people try their luck at it. Good and bad. eBay is not selling anything. They aren't. They're selling space to sell your wares. And then they take if you've got any amount, you probably got even a basic store, unless you're doing strictly auction. So your basic store costs you X number of dollars a month, or per year, however you want to pay it. That's just the beginning. So now you got your store fee. They also take a percentage of what it sells for. On average, it's 8 to 10%. Yeah. 8 to 10% is what you need to figure. And then they try to get you to do what they call sponsored, to get you more views. And they say you get to set the percentage. Well, they're still getting their basic plus something more. And you're paying to get seen first on the first page, right? Because they'll show, if you look, it'll say sponsored, sponsored, sponsored. Those are the guys that are paying the extra on top of their store fee, the selling percentage that eBay takes, and now they're paying a sponsor fee, but only when the item sells. It's not a monthly recurring cost. It's only when that item sells. And you get to set it 3 to 5 to 10. But when that thing, your widget does sell, now you've got the store fee, you got the percentage that eBay is going to take out of you, and now you've got the percentage on top of the percentage that eBay is going to take for helping you sell that. So there's 3 different fees that you probably didn't even know about, or at least 2. And then on top of that, now you have shipping. Unless you put in your listing, shipping to be paid for by the buyer. And you list the actual weight of it, the size of it, how you're going to ship it, and it will come up. I learned a long time ago, you might as well just go with free shipping. It makes it so simplified for the buyer. And the buyer is more apt to buy yours, even if there's one that's 2 or 3 ahead of you that have a cheaper price, but when you figure out shipping, it's more. Most people can do the math. And eBay for years has pushed the free shipping. And if you didn't offer free shipping, that took you down on the standing board of what eBay want to show its customers, because they don't let you know. They don't say they're your customers. They belong to eBay, and you're giving, by paying them, they're gracing you the ability to try to sell to their customers. That's how they call it. And whenever there's a big issue, they're going to side with the buyer because that's their customer. So now you got the shipping fee on top of that. And I just learned it's better to go free shipping. Don't worry about it. And it actually turns out better for us if we have somebody buy 2 or 3, because I already figured the shipping in on the one. And a lot of times the shipping on the one will cover the other 2 shipping costs. So I've made more by having free shipping than the buyer paying the freight and the tonnage and the weight and so forth. And then you have returns. And depending on what you're selling, will get you more or less returns. And not as described as one of the best, most used reasons that a person says they want to return something. Because if they use that, then the seller has to pay return freight. They lose the original freight, and they have to give a full refund. Even if the person ordered wrong, sent you an email saying, I ordered wrong, but opened the item not as described, you're screwed. You just took a hit on that, and there's no way to recoup from it. And the other thing you have to watch out for is people sending back their old part, saying it was your part, when in actuality, we mark ours. Yeah, especially the higher end stuff gets marked. And I will go ahead at you if you lie on the venue. And most of the times we can show eBay customer service that we are in the right, and the customer is trying to put the screws to us on their venue. Alright, so enough about eBay. Let's talk about Amazon. Amazon's a whole different bird. Amazon is allowing you to sell to their customers, kind of like eBay. But Amazon is selling as well. Amazon is selling. And as I've said in other videos, Amazon doesn't charge you to list. You can list as many items as you want. Amazon will only charge you when you sell. No store fees, no nothing. That's the great gift of Amazon. But when it comes to competition and their selling fees, you have to watch out, because their selling fees are probably right around what eBay's is. But as I said in a prior video, if your widget is doing really well, and now that they have AI to track all this stuff, if they can get access to that widget and undersell you and still make money on it, they will, in a heartbeat. They are not your friend. Not even remotely close. They're your fiercest competitor. And they hope to race to the bottom to get you to stop selling that widget so that they can make the money on the widget, instead of being happy with the percentage that they're making off me by selling that widget, where they don't have to touch it. I never went with Prime, with warehousing with them. We did our own. And I always had stuff shipped within the 4-day period. Now the venues, they don't care. It used to be, if you didn't ship within a couple days, all hell was going to break loose. And when they allowed the Chinese to come into the venues and totally destroy it for all of us on the U.S. side, and I'm not being vindictive, I'm just being honest, they allowed their venues to be used by China to knock out their competition, China's competition. You can't compete with China as a country. You can compete with the seller if the seller had ownership. But in China, no one owns anything. It's all owned by the top dog. Right? So there's just a couple things to consider before you start selling on eBay that you really need to know, or you're going to lose your ass and wonder why, how come I'm not making any money. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. The only way you're going to make money on the venues right now is if you're willing to take what I call a lot of risk. And you have to be able to afford to take that risk. And what am I saying? I'm saying trying to make money $4 to $5 to $6 per item is fine. But if you're paying somebody to help ship, pack, supplies, everything else, you're getting close to the break-even point, okay? Where we made our best money was on high-end stuff. And when I say high-end, it's 300 and up. And we sold a lot of items that were over $2,000 per item. So why am I saying risk? Well, I'm saying risk because you may lose that item. If the customer says they didn't receive it and you didn't have tracking a signature on it, you just lost. Credit card fraud. They love buying those big ticket items on those credit cards that are stolen numbers. And what ends up happening, you go ahead and you ship that item because you're supposed to ship it within a certain period of time. And then all of a sudden there's a chargeback from your bank or through the venues. A lot of times we run those people through our business at the shop, credit card company, versus the venues doing that. And I learned early on, if they're willing to come directly to you, which there are some buyers that don't want to give their credit card numbers to eBay or Amazon, I get it. But if they come directly to you on a high-end item, my suggestion to you is go ahead and make the sale. but do not ship until it clears. And the sucky part is the one that I got taken by the most was a little over $5,000 in one sale, and it was 10 kits in total that were, right around $500 a piece. They were valve cutting kits, Sten's product, and they went to Singapore. I ended up losing on that, and the reason I ended up losing on that is the person went through us with their credit card, and they actually used what they said was theirs and their wife's card to pay for it. I waited a week before I shipped, thinking if there's going to be a chargeback, that's probably when it's going to happen. Well, let me tell you, folks, 2 days after it was delivered, chargeback came in. And that was like almost 20 days out, 18 days out. So you can't insulate yourself from all these things that take place on the venue. And the person that stole somebody's credit card, they got those 10 kits, I guarantee you resold those 10 kits somewhere else and turned it into cash. So there's a lot of dishonesty too that goes on those venues that you just have to be careful, be aware of, and understand the risks when you start selling higher ticket items. So on that note, guys, you guys have a great Wednesday, and I'm not sure what's going on yet today. We got the cows all. I got to run up there this morning and check on a couple of my cows. And I'll let you know how we're doing when it comes to calves, right? All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video.